And we are live. So let's begin. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of BigBlackCrypto. Lots of news here, but guess what? This is where we're going to be starting off. Now, I wanted to go right back to the white paper because I don't know how many people have taken the time to look at the white paper and sort of see why those of us who have been hodling for as long as we have been, and why we continue to hodl well into the future. Congrats to anybody who's been here since 2018. I just want to take this time to highlight that, let you read over it. Before I repeat it, again, this is the white paper as authored by Arthur Brock and Eric Harris-Braun, as titled Holo Cryptocurrency Infrastructure for Global Scale and Stable Value. From the abstract, right off the bat, we provide optimizations to enable the tracking and billing for the trillions of network interactions per second required to run a global scale decentralized hosting platform. Did you take that in? I'm going to repeat it one more time. We provide optimizations to enable the tracking and billing for the trillions of network interactions per second required to run a global scale decentralized hosting platform. We propose a blend of automation akin to smart contracts with engineered visibility to enable better decisions by human agents. Finally, we explore security considerations relative to blockchain-based securities. Yo, these guys, they know what's up. Through the white paper, they talk about clearing blockchain hurdles. I dig it. Some of the things that they've accomplished was being able to enable fully functional decentralized applications far more sophisticated than smart contracts to serve mainstream internet users, and to provide the massively scalable crypto accounting infrastructure required to host and manage applications at such enormous volumes of usage. Jeez. Let's keep going. They talk about the underlying technology framework. I dig it. But that's one of the things that I just wanted to highlight when it comes to Holochain is its ability to do more than, what Visa can do, more than what Swift can do, and really compete on a scale. Whereas you see, Cardano wants to upload 100 million users in Africa. Ripple wants to corner the market as far as, doing what Swift did when Swift took over, I believe, like Teletrack or whatever it was. That's a $10 trillion industry, and Ripple's poised to play in it. And what do you think, Holochain getting its patent does for it? It puts us in place to reap the benefits of a U.S. domestic market as well as North America as a whole, and to really be recognized as a global player when it comes to Europe. Remember, they're one of 10 blockchains, not blockchain, but one of the 10 distributed ledger technologies next to Polkadot, for example, highlighted in that paper. So when you talk about the future of Holochain, it's bright. And I'll take you through it as best I can, as quickly as I can. All links will be made available so you can come back and comb through the areas that you wish I would have spent more time on. Believe me, you thought you saw a couple of Holochain videos, you're about to see a lot more Holochain videos. Just wait and see. One thing they do really well is make use of DHT, and I just wanted to comb through this part because this was one thing that stood out to me. In this paper, the absence of references to proof of work, proof of stake, or leader selection algorithms are not an oversight, nor due to unfamiliarity with established approaches to distributed computing or blockchain architectures. The approach used in Holo does not waste computing power on those proofs, nor on any type of global ledger consensus at all. Holochain ensures data integrity for distributed applications through careful provenance of data published from each agent's local immutable chain. Immutable means it can't be changed. Like it's permanent. Public entries, think of it like a PDF almost. Once it's done, it's done. Public entries to local chains are then shared to a content addressable distributed hash table, DHT. Unpredictably, selected peers validate cryptographic signatures and force data schemas and application logic. Using this pattern of local immutable chains with headers notarized by an eventually consistent DHT, Holochain introduces an agent-centric pattern for data integrity, rather than a data-centric absolutist frame. See, this is one of the reasons why it's difficult for people to grasp some of the direction that technology is heading in. We were raised to deal in absolutes. It's this or that, and it can never be more than one thing. And I hope that this sort of changes that perspective. So back to that sentence. Using this pattern of local immutable chains with header notarized by an eventually consistent DHT, Holochain introduces an agent-centric pattern for data integrity, rather than a data-centric absolutist frame, which is what creates the need for consensus. Once a developer learns to do this kind of inversion in their thinking from data-centric to agent-centric, then building a distributed application on Holochain becomes much easier and many orders of magnitude more computationally efficient than applications built for scale on blockchain. So again, read through the white paper to see where we're coming from, and it's a thorough paper. It's a thorough paper. And I love the fact that they, from the jump, were aiming for trillions of transactions per second. And that's why I chose them early on. So let's run through why I see Holochain being worth what it's worth. And I'd probably say, looking at it as a 3.22 trillion market space that it's about to play in, is still undervaluing it. Crazy, huh? You go through the effort and all of a sudden you realize whoa, there's a lot of market. And this is definitely a framework for anybody who's interested in doing more than just investing. If you thought you were making money investing, you're about to make a lot more money when you take up some kind of coding language and decide to dev on it. The real money is for those who intend to innovate on the technology. So you can invest and participate. Great. You could innovate. Or get some people to innovate your ideas into existence and really be part of the market. So this is one question I get asked a lot. How does this affect the banks? I figure I'll just give you what you got, what you'll find right away. And by establishing a decentralized ledger for payments, blockchain technology could facilitate faster payments at lower fees. This is not a could. Can, will, has, and continues to do so. You get faster payments and lower fees. Ripple has about 300 partnerships in place. That's why you see it jump from 0.70 to CAD to 0.90 CAD. It's gonna climb and the burn is imminent. At some point, they're gonna want to buy back stock options, so to speak, the burn, and whatever it's at is gonna double. Ain't that something? So yeah, I got a little bag in XRP, nothing crazy, but enough for a raincoat on a rainy day. You know what I'm saying? When the money guns come up and them dollars start raining down on you, yeah, I'm ready for that. And the clearance and settlement systems, distributed ledgers can reduce operational costs and bring us closer to real-time transactions between financial institutions. So at this point, it really is just a hurdle of governance. But here's something that people don't seem to understand. With Holochain, I'm not done on XRP, but I just wanted to highlight, this is what the craze over XRP has become. At one point you got in at 0.60 USD or CAD, whatever. But you knew based on the news what it could be. And the hard part was keeping your money on XRP, knowing that every other alt was booming. If you got into Holochain and you had thoughts about anything else, you didn't move your Holo. You held your Holo, and whatever bags you had wherever they were before, you left. But XRP is going to have a hollow type breakthrough. It's just going to be longer. Like, put it this way. What you're going to see in 4 weeks out of Holo, you might see in 4 months out of XRP. But then when XRP takes off, it's going to be overnight. It's going to do what a Phil coin did, where it's going to go from like, double its value. Phil coin, $80, highly speculative. What does it do? Jumps up to 240 CAD. 247 CAD. Even with a retracement down to 219 CAD, you were still up. So when I look at XRP, you know what? It might not have the same return on investment in the next 4 weeks. I don't care. I could leave a little of something over here. Holo's going to cover that bag regardless. And I'm still going to be able to come back and play on XRP. Whatever happens with XRP doesn't bother me. I don't care that there's whales in the waters. I don't care. I want some of that pie. But you can see, like, it's been a gradual climb. And let's see what we got here for the last, this is just basically the last week that we're looking at here. And I'm content. Like, look at that support that it's building. This would have been an excellent time to buy. But of course, if you were here, excellent entry points. Some people call them dips. I see them as opportunities. And congrats to those who bought in or have been holding. I hope the best for you, because I got a little something riding on XRP too. Moving on. These are other reasons why I wanted to highlight why Holochain is poised to do what nobody else has done before in a space where there's room for lots of global participation. The Business Wire, a Berkshire Hathaway company, estimates the global healthcare market to be 11.9 trillion, as far as key opportunities and strategies go. I'm going to post all the links so you can do your own research and feel comfortable in the decisions that you make. But this is one thing that for me signaled a wealth of opportunity, especially when it comes to, you're thinking of just like distributed healthcare and the Internet of Things. Excellent piece to read up on. If you get a chance, I'll make sure I try to link that as well. You're going to have like 50 links. You're going to be so thankful. But it's more than just ensuring that all the devices on a network to its most outer fringes are secure. It's also about what it can do in terms of as a digital asset. Imagine your patient profile migrating with you from practitioner to practitioner. It's one of the biggest issues. Maybe one day I'll cover it. In Canada, there's a perfect case as far as like our own e-health scandals. Buying unnecessary computers when in hindsight we could have just built, devved, and moved information to particular profiles and migrated it accordingly. The process is so much simpler than running out and misspending unnecessary money on, run-of-the-mill desktops. It's a lot easier to also ensure that necessary spending on critical tech and infrastructure isn't wasteful in its expenditure. Just highlighting that. Moving on. The other place that I really see opportunity for Holochain is actually in the electric vehicle market. If you want widespread mass adoption, you got to allow for payment at the pumps. And what other way, I can think of no better way than to sort of encourage this is by allowing people to make payments at their electric charging stations. I think across Canada, we got a little under 14,000. It continues to grow globally. And, it's not just the tech that we'll see in the cars as far as, basically being able to communicate with each other, being able to see what traffic looks like ahead, and maintaining roadways. Like what we lose in traffic, they say in Toronto, you lose about 82 to 87 days a year in traffic if you just add that time up. But now if you have cars moving like smart cars, not necessarily linked to your cell phone, but literally the satellite communicating, saying, the next 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 feet, this is what traffic looks like. You're probably not going to have the same slow moving traffic costing your economy billions a year. So, what you can't get out of a gas powered vehicle, you can enable that kind of technology in an electric driven car. So I know I stopped there, but I just kind of wanted to highlight some basic metrics of opportunity. This is Allied Market Research. You're welcome to find something more credible. No arguments. I'm not here to compete. I'm just simply trying to ensure that the best tech becomes available to us in North America and beyond for my many friends and family around the world, because after all, Holochain is one big community and one big family. But here they got the global vehicle electric market valued at $162.34 billion in 2019 and projected to reach $802.81 billion by 2027. Geez, Asia Pacific was the highest revenue contributor, accounting for $84.84 billion in 2019, and is estimated to reach $357.81 billion by 2027. So if you got yourself some VeChain, and believe me, I'm going to talk about VeChain soon, congratulations, you secured the bag. Let's keep it moving. Again, all articles and all the research will be made available to you. This is one I found really interesting. We're going back to 2018. It just touches on Holochain, holonomics, smart ecologies, and the future of the internet. Love it. And I'm not going to comb through the entire article. I just want to show you that as far as like where it's been placing itself, cloud computing comes down to at the core of things. So they didn't just nestle themselves in one aspect of market. They nestled themselves in an area of the market where all other areas of the market have to intersect. When you understand how powerful cloud computing is as, I guess you could say, an apex point of market, then you see how viable everything else is, because it's going to have to relay back to cloud computing. So here they highlight, and I'm just going to highlight this for you so you can read along. Holo enables scalable distributed internet applications and data hosting infrastructures. This allows users to become consenting participants in applications that become communities unto themselves. Built on Holochain, Holo's energy-efficient hosting enables a new class of hosting where individuals are free to buck the 200 billion cloud hosting industry using simple consumer-grade services. And Holofuel. Now, that's also one of the reasons why I pulled this up, because when you go digging for Holofuel, sometimes the best information you're going to find is from older articles, because it'll give you a perspective of where things are going to be. Now, hint, if you're still listening, based on Arthur Brock's conversation with Data Art from about a week and a half ago, it's fresh off the press. Apparently the App Store is about 3 to 6 months away. So if you're excited, believe me, we are all excited. So just to continue, by the way, the article, as they state, it's not intended to be a complete introduction to Holochain. Chances are for you here, you've already been introduced to Holochain. Let's see. They've got another article linking to how it points out the two major innovations. But anyways, Holochain, a new way of running truly peer-to-peer application that makes it so that my computer doesn't necessarily have to store all the content in an application in order to be able to serve that content. Holofuel, a new crypto accounting system that enables us to process transactions in parallel rather than in sequence. That means that Holo can handle millions or billions of simultaneous transactions. Now, that was 2018. It's 2021. Let's put trillions in that conversation. What's good? And we're just going to summarize what they have here for us. What Holochain does for you: you get to own your own data. You get to control your identity. You get to connect applications to suit their needs. You get to transact without centralized systems. You get to build lighter, faster, cheaper applications. And the Holochain applications help governance and collaboration, social media, social networks, and vendor links, sharing economy and platform, co-ops, apps, supply chain wins, and social communities. Now, when we look at Cardano wanting to put 100 million users into a market where they can participate, have access, have global consensus, to have a digital identity of some sorts. You know, this is why Holochain got their US patent. They're for real. They intend on playing in many markets, and their framework for their technology will allow you to do so. And we haven't even begun. Like this article, this vlog isn't even going to touch on what happens when you start layering on an already powerful first layer framework. You know, like this is the direction we're headed in. Now, if you haven't read this article, you're going to want to read this one, Thinking Outside of the Blocks. This is what I had referred to earlier in the distributed security and IoT healthcare. And we've already established that this is, $11.9 trillion industry. But there's a couple things that are going to stand out. And I'm just going to give you a taste of that. So, to touch on some of the issues, one increasingly straining challenge for healthcare systems in both developed and developing worlds is the rapid expansion. Let me highlight that for you. You're gonna want to be able to sink in on this. So, one increasingly straining challenge for healthcare systems is both developed and developing worlds is the rapid expansion of aging populations whose care requirement is different in nature and more demanding compared to the young population. It is very true. Like in North America, I don't know about your part of the world, but it is a challenge, and we don't do enough for our elderly. The predominantly traditional physical manual management of healthcare system of age population is further complicating the problem. Furthermore, devices with very limited communication and networking capability and limited agility are exacerbating the problem. However, recent advantages in flexible electronics and nanobiosensors have the potential to address the critical healthcare problem mentioned above, which was unthinkable even just a decade ago. Also, rapid progress in ubiquitous connectivity and networking solutions offered by 5G and emerging 6G systems. Y'all haven't even thought about 6G yet. We were all crying about 5G. Well, not all of us. I was looking forward to faster connections because I be trading and I need speed. But now we talking about 6G. 6G, when have you heard anybody refer to 6G anything? You probably heard it here first. And emerging 6G systems will enable remote healthcare management anywhere around the clock. Jeez. So progress in soft robotics for medical applications as well as medical informatics coupled with immersive and extended reality IXR will realize the dream of remote surgery. It will enable surgeons with certain expertise to assist and supervise robots to carry out the procedure from anywhere in the world, provided that the critical latency and reliability requirements of the end-to-end connections are met. So, surgery in real time is necessary. Regardless, things can now happen from overseas. They've already been doing so, but now it's the speed is about to be unparalleled. There's no need for mining. Things are going to operate more so in a node type structure. So from the aspect of computational time, this is a complete wastage of time for the rest of the nodes who attempted the mining process but were unsuccessful. Hence, blockchain gives rise to redundant computational overheads for resource-constrained IoT healthcare systems. Therefore, a practically feasible solution is required. Oh, I gotta give y'all the juice. I gotta highlight as I go. I apologize. It's required for IoT systems that can overcome this challenge. It is vitally important to ensure that DLT, so distributed ledger technologies, is implemented in an inherently secure and privacy-preserving manner in the distributed IoT healthcare system while being less complex and less resource-hungry. Jeez. Let's keep going. Holochain is an emerging technology that provides an open source distributed network infrastructure to communicate securely without inheriting the huge storage and data exchange requirements like blockchain. Holochain magically performs a task by combining two underlying techniques, a distributed hash table and hash chain. So I'm not going to inundate this. This is going to be long as is, but I just wanted to show you some of the benefits. And you really need to read through this. I don't mind doing, 10 to 20 minutes on this as a whole, but I'm going to scroll down and cover why security is so critical. Because if we're in Toronto, maybe within the last 10 years, one thing you would have noticed was like some of the leaked data as it came from like from the hospitals themselves, right? Patient data should never be compromised. And you think about your own data and privacy, but now what happens when whole systems get compromised? And this is an example of why it's important to have a secure network, period. And this is something that Holochain is able to fix. The real risk, in the article, I'm just going to read from this point. The real risk is that a hacker could potentially take over the communication of a medical device, switch it off and make it malfunction, or falsify the information that is sent to the doctor. Researchers have also shown that it is possible to do something called a battery draining attack on a pacemaker implant. That's messed up. Many recent cyber attacks have shut down hospitals, healthcare systems, and caused deaths. In 2017, the global ransomware attack, WannaCry, took hold access across multiple continents, inflicted over 600 organizations, including 34 hospital trusts in the UK that were locked out of their digital systems, and medical devices such as MRI scanners. WannaCry impacted patient care directly, costing the organization £92 million or 116.4 million USD, leading to 19,000 canceled appointments. You thought COVID was bad. Ransomware is the devil. These examples are just a sample of how AI can automate the manipulation of medical data sets, expanding a cyber attack's impact through health and biotech industries. So this is why it's important. Later on in the article, they explore DLTs, and they're secure by design and implementable under resource-constrained IoT settings. So again, this is why I'm a fan of it. The proposed secure by design technology will have wider implications. Oh, remember when I was talking about VeChain and cars and banking, and you were like, where's this guy going? He can't be this fried early in the morning. No way this guy smoked that much weed. Nah, I'm not fried. I know it's early in the morning, and I'm about a large double deep dark roast. So I just for me, allow me, if I may. In this article, we explore DLTs, which are secure by design and implementable under resource-constrained IoT settings. Although the article focuses on medical applications facilitated through the IoT, the proposed secure by design technology will have wider implications. For example, hacking of transport systems, including autonomous driverless cars, also has the potential to cause devastating accidents. So, hacking financial systems can cost billions from businesses, wipe out lifetime savings and pension schemes, and critical infrastructure could also be damaged, and the list goes on. So now you see the value as far as the Internet of Things. At some point I'm going to touch on the energy of things, but where Holochain thrives is in the economy of things. And this is a wholesale perspective, from banking to electric vehicles and other autonomous driving, technology that we'll see. Because at some point, they're going to be doing things by freight, and it's going to be autonomous, in the future. So let's keep it moving. Again, we revisit the white paper, and this is my favorite part of it. We provide optimizations to enable the tracking and billing for the trillions of network interactions per second required to run a global scale decentralized hosting platform. So Who else's white paper says that? No, like, for real. Go look at everybody else's white paper. Comb through the abstract, the opening, the conclusion, and you tell me who else says they're capable of handling trillions of network interactions per second required to run a global scale, decentralized hosting platform. And, post them in the comment section. I want to see. But right now, Holochain is for the people. Like, people say, why did they start off with such a low value? They purposely discounted the value of things to encourage market adoption. What's the point of participation if you're priced out before you can even participate? So, this is one thing Arthur Brock, Eric Harris-Braun, and your favorites, Iron Man in real life, Elon Musk, have in common. They both believe in the power of the Internet of Things. So, I found this one on Forbes. Again, all research is going to be provided, but I just kind of wanted to highlight that these guys aren't like competing against each other. They're competing in the same spaces, but if they actually work together, they could probably corner a market in a way that it would accelerate things for the both of them. So shout out to Elon as a manufacturer, or Tesla as a manufacturer, providing free charging for the lead up to the previous storms. Let's see. So this is why I wanted to share this article. In fact, Tesla and OnStar's moves reflect a deeper shift. Consumer and business-facing infrastructure is growing increasingly in an Internet of Things with more devices connecting each day. The Economist reports that 1 trillion Internet-connected devices may be online by 2035. So what did we just read in the white paper? We were talking about being able to handle trillions of interactions per second. And in 2035, we're supposed to hit 1 trillion of internet-connected devices. Holochain is already ready for the future. Holochain is about 14 years early for what we need to be doing. So for some consumers, some of those IoT gadgets may seem superfluous in actually improving our lives. However, as Tesla owners have learned, IoT devices can be a lifeline. Jeez. And I rate it because, either you're talking about the power walls or the solar panel roofs, you're going to start to see more of that. And people are recognizing the value in that. Nissan's jumping on it. Ford's jumping on it. General Electric's jumping on it. You got IoT sensors in aircraft engines that allow mechanics to remotely monitor the health of individual components and collect data on use, helping to not only prevent engine failure, but also to better monitor usage and wear and tear. Armed with data, airlines can better plan preventative maintenance, reduce downtime, and more efficiently deploy their fleet of aircraft, lowering costs and reducing passenger delays. Here they say IoT is a game changer, empowering our lives. Coupled with clean tech, IoT is offsetting some of the impacts of climate change. While there has been much hype around the B2C applications of this technology, everything from refrigerators to doorbells, B2P infrastructure applications offer a greater potential for IoT to positively impact our lives and meet the sustainability goals we have for generations to come. So that's how they conclude the article. So now that we're on a similar path of where we see the value and know the value, let's just do it one more time because it feels so good to be so right. and to be so early on the things that we believe in. But we provide optimizations to enable the tracking and billing for the trillions of network interactions per second required to run a global scale decentralized hosting platform. Again, if somebody else's white paper, is talking about trillions of network interactions, post it, put it in the comments section. I gotta see it. Now, there's 3 videos that I think will really highlight things for some viewers, as opposed, like, in regards to, what this might look like. So I'll give you a snap of it. This right here is Constellation's video on mobility. So this is kind of like an example of the So I'm gonna have to edit out the commercial, cut the audio. Ready, set, resume. By the way, if you ain't got some Constellation, go get you some Constellation. That is proper. Because one thing I really like about this tech is, now what happens when, there's nobody at a red light and there's no reason for that light to stay red? We could actually move traffic a lot faster. But because we're not ready to adapt, I gotta ask, at what point are we going to move our economy in a way that doesn't cost us billions in traffic? And having, vehicles with this kind of technology would make that a lot easier, make that so much more possible. So I know you heard some of the audio doubling over, but this is kind of like where I see the future for us. Like, as they build out their system, there's no reason why Holochain can't participate in this kind of market based on the tech available to it. Every device is going to have an identity of its own. It's going to be able to interact with the other cars on the road. Now, why wouldn't Holochain want to be a part of that market? So, again, this will be posted so you can see for yourself. I encourage you to hodl a little Constellation if you can. I'm a big fan on anything oriented in a car market, just because the value is exponential over time. And, if you got yourself some VeChain, for example, congratulations, you secured a bag. The next video I want to introduce you to, and I'm amazed that it's only at 263,000 views. This thing should really have like closer to like 3 million views. So that kind of, should highlight where you are in the market and how early you are to market. And I'm going to play some of this, and actually I'm going to jump to the part I really like, and I want you to sort of see where the mind is at.
Blockchain is momentarily the best-known distributed ledger technology, DLT for short. This is primarily due to the hype surrounding the Bitcoin cryptocurrency, which is based on
Bitcoin ain't got nothing on Holochain.
Digital databases in which every member can supplement the data stored there, not centrally in a cloud, but locally.
So this helps visualize like what we've been talking about so far.
Central consensus mechanisms that are implemented through algorithms on the participating computers. This so-called mining verifies the data in the decentral network.
Now with Holochain, there's no mining necessary.
Safe and decentral, and by that,
That's the power of peer-to-peer.
future transactions and verification processes. In the case of blockchain, a new digital block with a distinctive
No proof of stake necessary, no proof of work necessary.
block is written for every new set of and becomes immutable from then on. Proof of work, the safety requirement. The user has no interest in the higher.
Now we're gonna fast forward to where we want to be with this.
For use cases with higher transaction rate requirements, could be making use of the DLT variant, directed acyclic graph, DAG. In contrast to blockchain, consensus finding in DAGs is achieved if the user validates for each new transaction at least two previously
Okay, so
not validated transactions. With every user participating in the network, the transaction
and
rate.
coming up, this is what I love about the video.
However, this advantage of
Like this is my favorite part of it, and I really hope you're paying attention right now.
securities are highly relevant in the future because they enable an economy of things, safe transactions between humans and machines, immutable, indisputable information, and as a consequence, the capability for smart contracts embedded in a program code to be able to guarantee decentral, automated contractual transactions. Intermediaries will become redundant. Businesses will be decentralized and ultimately be performed between machine and machine. Cars charge themselves, negotiate the prices at the charging station, and settle the bill.
You know what I'm saying?
Economy of things, distributed ledger technologies create and ensure the basis for trust, fairness, and participation in the decision-making process. As a result, DLTs enable intersectoral value-creating networks.
Shout out to Bosch for making that video. And this is why Holochain was profiled in the EU Commission's paper on DLTs scanning for good. And it's because the value that it brings to an economy and what it does in terms of being able to keep money moving, flowing freely through an economy. This is the type of tech that you don't want to inhibit. Another good video to watch is What is Edge Computing by IDG Tech Talk. Those are like the three videos that I would highlight to anybody. The visuals that they put forth kind of display on like how it's more than just, high tech and, the home user, but how essentially everything kind of interacts with each other and the power of it. I'm not going to play the video, but again, the link's down below and it's available for those interested. Now, I wanted to talk about something I had mentioned earlier as far as the Internet of Energy and why Holochain was poised to be successful on all fronts. Like, one of the companies that have developed on Holochain is RedGrid, and they specialize in the Internet of Energy. So the Internet of Energy can be described as a technological term that refers to the upgrading and automating of electricity infrastructures for energy producers and manufacturers. IOE allows energy production to move forward more efficiently and cleanly with the least amount of waste. So that's really key. We could even go into details to why it matters. I don't mind. Let's see what they got here for us. And yeah, we're going to touch on the economy of things and the Internet of Things. I'm not even trying to wait for that to load. I got like 1,000,001 portals open right now. The economy of things is created when new value is extracted from the Internet of Things. This means that the physical assets are turned into digital assets that are able to participate in new disruptive digital markets, liquefying the physical world. Art, for example, is, something that's become liquefied and now has a digital presence. I can take the painting off the wall take a picture and sell that, whether the NFT be, whether I destroy the painting and let the NFT, take on that proposed value, or the NFT itself serving as, a form of authenticity, a certificate saying that this is the owner and heir to this painting. They can do whatever they wish with it. Like, you can't, like, this wasn't possible 5 to 10 years ago. Now, everything and anything is possible. If it has a physical presence, it can take on a digital presence. And that's the power of the economy of things. It's not specific to just NFTs, but anything and everything when we talk about our real world activities and having a way and means to pay or track. And for another working definition of like the Internet of Things, it can be describes the network of physical objects, things, or objects that are embedded with sensors, software, and other technologies for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other devices and systems over the internet. So again, you're talking about 1 trillion devices by 2035, and we already have a suitable non-blockchain alternative via P2P and DHT technologies that can handle 1 trillion transactions or 1 trillion interactions per second. Money is data, and when it flows freely and you have access to it, you can do more than just sort of wait for a paycheck. Like, I think one of the favorite things that I heard as far as like Ripple being in a banking space was that, the same transaction that would have costed you $20 in fees, like just to move $2,000 or $20K, you could move 2 million for $2. That's the difference. Like, whatever your banking system chooses to allow as far as fees go is different, but replacing Swift the way Swift replaced its predecessor is one of the things we think of. And when we consider the U.S. patent at play, that gives banking institutions a level of comfort knowing that, if we choose to adopt this technology for our gateway portals to crypto, then great. I think one of the misconceptions a lot of banks don't seem to grasp as far as like buying and selling crypto, you should just be okay with receiving the money from the money made in the digital realm. You should be comfortable with people making payments through their institution to these crypto platforms. I think it's a tremendous mistake to sort of just write it off because it's a threat. It's actually, the more banks or institutions adopt readily, the more people will sort of recognize them and bank with them instead of their competition. People want access to emerging markets. They don't want to buy whole shares and not have access to, the chart that'll actually show them things in real time. That's the benefit of playing crypto. I can buy that share in a fractal amount with the minimum amount that I have to spend, but I can also buy freely, have reduced fees or no fees at all, and participate in market. And I can do that at any time of the day without having to stop everything I do. And I can do it from the seat of my pants in front of my computer to literally doing that from a handheld device of any kind. I can't do that really with traditional banking. I can buy and walk away, but I don't have the luxury of peering into the chart casually. And there's probably an app for that, but the way things are integrated in the realm of all digital assets and crypto currencies, banks are going to have a hard time competing, and it's better they actually understand how the world is moving and participate. This is one partnership I think that gets slept on the heaviest, and it's kind of sad because when we talk about, handling trillions of transactions per second, knowing that there's about 10,000 institutions that are Swift enabled, and that, Ripple is looking to make a play at, Well, here enters in 2019 Alliance Block Primer and their partnership with Holochain. So I want to run through this, and this is going to be a long video. I don't care. At Alliance Block, we are building the world's first globally compliant decentralized capital market with the Alliance Block protocol. Yo, if they got a crypto, yo, you tell me how to buy that crypto. I want that in my portfolio. Like now, ASAP. They need to do an ICO if they haven't done an ICO. Again, these are things that I've come across, and I still got more work to do. The research never stops because BigBlackCrypto don't stop. See that? Sometimes I want to say black big crypto. You know, it's like the alliteration and big lips got me. All right, what we do at Alliance Block, we're building the world's first globally compliant decentralized capital market with the Alliance Block protocol. I'm not kidding. If you see that they do an ICO or they've had an ICO, their coins on the market, you hit me up ASAP. I want that in my portfolio. I'm not playing. Cross-border regulatory compliance, and now I'm going to talk about the three main layers. You got transactions, data governance and privacy, cross-border regulatory compliance. Dynamic smart contract logic that integrates with existing legal structures and provides regulatory oversight, legal recourse, and upgradability. Data governance and privacy. All data collected, processed, and disseminated is compliant with GDPR and MiFID II to simultaneously ensure user privacy and transparency of transactions. Transactions, fully automated back office processing, document production, automated prospectuses, and regulatory submissions and transactions. So they highlight why those four things are important. I'm just going to scroll down so I don't crush you with another lengthy reading. Oh my God. Did they just mention the Philippines? Now, I got homies from the Philippines. Yo, shout out to the dudes I used to work with at Foot Locker. Some of the best dudes. They could ball, man. Like, yo, I don't even play basketball, but like, I just gotta love it, man. Yo, even where I grew up, there was this Filipino restaurant, and yo, I love some of the adobo that I used to grab from there. The fried fish. Like, my dad be looking at me weird, like, yo, yo, where'd you? Yo, it's mid-afternoon. You got a hockey game to go to, and you chewing on. And I'm just like, yo, you want some? Casually, like, that's what was one of the beautiful things about growing up in Toronto. You're surrounded by so much culture, like, and then when you understand the culture and the business aspects in one of the markets, like sending money back to the Philippines is a big market. I think Remitly is one of the companies that, like, they always talk on the commercials about how some of these banking corporations like earn billions doing nothing, and it's really in many ways disrespectful because here you are working your ass off to send money back home to your extended family, and then, you know what? You could always be sending more, but somebody wants to take as much as they can, scraping from the top. And to me, that's not cool, man. Like, I really appreciate seeing Alliance Block and Top Tech established. Now, if you're from Toronto and you saw the TTC, no, that is not the Toronto Transit Commission. There is no subway stops in between. This is all about banking and from a decentralized context. So that's the article beneath that article. And this is why you always scroll. They got part 1 and part 2. But yeah, back to here. So together, those three components of data governance, privacy, cross-border regulatory compliance, and transactions all coincides with regulated securities offerings, permissioned private communication channels between financial institutions, consolidated reporting of financial exposure for regulatory purposes, tokenized content management, and more. And now we go into bringing it all together. So it's going to be achieved through the use of Holochain's distributed hash table architecture, which is based on the technology of BitTorrent's peer-to-peer file sharing protocol used for data distribution and lookup. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water before I continue. But the way I explained to BitTorrent, it is I love it. I love it because it's hard for people to grasp like peer-to-peer sharing, and they're like they get it, but they don't get it. They don't even realize they've used it before. So give me a sec. So when it comes down to BitTorrent, if you've ever used LimeWire, Napster, Shazam, any other like torrenting type device, like or program, you've used that peer-to-peer file sharing protocol. And you already know how fast it is because remember, you were trying to download a movie, and I'm not getting into the semantics of the legalities. When you're young, and you're going to find a way to access things irregardless of what the legalities are. That's just the generation I grew up on. I was on Silk Road before I realized, like, yo, I shouldn't be on Silk Road. Oh, what's a Bitcoin? You know what I mean? And instead I'd go outside and go and play, like, the moment I saw a little too much. But as far as BitTorrent goes, like, you're familiar with the technology. The way I explain to people in my community is it's no different than LimeWire. It's no different than Napster, Shazam. And I don't harp on the legality of it. What I harp on is the technology that has been present from time, and it's the ability for things to get faster based on where that information is stored. And as far as ledgers go, this is how you start to see a benefit of it through protective measures, right? You develop that technology and you create off of it in a way where it's more secure for the user. So the system will enable self-sovereignty of user data, allowing users to fine-tune the data they share while ensuring Alliance Block is compliant with data protection and regulations, GDPR. I'm wondering if that GDPR, if the G is for Gibraltar. And you're like, what do you mean? What does Gibraltar have to do with this? Yo, what is Gibraltar? Where is Gibraltar? You need to go on Google Maps and look up Gibraltar. It is like a hub for tech. Like, it is one of the world's not so secret, best kept secrets. So the unique thing about Holochain, coming from Gibraltar is actually one of the places very early on in the world that was regulating cryptocurrencies, recognizing it as an asset of sorts despite being digital, and having a series of set compliance protocols. In fact, a lot of what you see on a global scale of regulatory framework is reflective of the framework in Gibraltar. People don't know that. So when you wonder how like Holochain can gain acceptance worldwide, well, they're used to dealing with local governance. They're used to being compliant and operating within a framework. They're used to sitting at the head of councils and assisting, and contextualizing what would benefit the adoption of the technology at the same time too, without implementing things that would be of a hindrance. It's in the EU Commission, they've already acknowledged where and what this, like where the technology is headed, what this means for economy, and the value to be had. It's just a matter of the rest of the world following suit. And the sad part is, in North America, Canada won't do anything until the US does it. And the US won't do anything until, well, they kind of understand it. The problem is Canada, North America as a whole, they move at a blockchain speed. Holochain does trillions of interactions per second. So this is why I'm like not really waiting for technology. This is why I'm going to school in May. This is why I want to learn how to code and program. I don't want to just invest. I want to innovate. And I want to participate when market adoption is poised for people to introduce their new creations. I don't care about the speed my government moves in. I wish they would move faster, but if you're not going to move fast, guess what? I'm going to use that opportunity to innovate and structure myself in a way where I can get my technological ideas supported in some form. So, back to the article, one of the pillars of our platform consists of a ratting system where each user maintains its user data. For this part, we were looking for a DLT to host high scalable network features after meeting David Atkinson at a gathering in 2018. We discovered the brilliance of the agent-centric protocol of Holochain, where each agent maintains its personal hash code, better known as distributed hash table. Not only will the peer maintain its data sovereignty, but this will also enhance the scalability of our platform. So that's from the founder and CEO, Rashid Ajaya. Yo, and by the way, I apologize if I pronounce your last name wrong. Like, sincerest apologies. Now here they talk about each peer and node that registers with Alliance Block will have a role in staking, contributing, responding, voting, investing, and more. It will form part of an ever-expanding peer-to-peer experience. So by building the social component of Alliance Block on Holochain, we'll be able to decrease failure rate, increase investor return on investment, and allow